Hello.
So, we're Roommate Reviews.
Yep. This is Adam.
And that's Derek. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
And today this is our first video.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're basically going to be doing is watching movies, reviewing them.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
In theaters or out of theaters, like just an old
movie that we haven't seen in a while or maybe haven't seen ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get on to the first movie.
So we saw The Great Gatsby.
The remake by Baz Luhrmann.
And we just got back from it.
Just got back. Want to talk about previews first?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see the previews. We're going to the previews. He's seen all the previews. I haven't seen a few of them.
I'm a movie buff. I like to look them up. What's coming out when? The first one we saw was Captain Phillips.
That one. I mean, I'm a big Tom Hanks person.
You are.
I love me some Forrest Gump. But I mean, I've always been a big fan of Tom Hanks. He's one of those guys that I know, like, looks into his roles, does a good job with it,
and never half-asses it.
No.
If he's in a role, he's in a role.
Yeah. I haven't seen Cloud Atlas though. I still need to see that.
I haven't seen that either.
You haven't seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we could do that.
That could be next week or something.
We could do that. But I'm looking.
I think I'm
looking forward
say
to it.
If you haven't seen the trailer, it looks like this Captain Phillips basically gets boarded by pirates in modern day, and basically hijinks ensue. No,
yeah, the movie's playing off the whole
Somalian pirates thing. It's
playing off that idea.
Well, it's based on a true story. It said.
Yeah, that's another reason why we'll probably see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming out in
that looks. It just said coming soon. I think. I don't think it gave a date. The only thing I thought was weird about it was the name Captain. It just seems like an odd name.
It was kind of a weird name.
Just Captain Phillips.
Not like a scenario name.
No, not a scenario. Not like symbolism name. Just.
Oh, hey, it's that guy.
Captain Phillips.
That guy's the name of the movie.
Well, they do that for superhero movies, but that makes sense.
But it's superhero movies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Next one.
We digress.
The next one was a children's film called Epic.
That one.
It looks. I don't know. It looks like they might have a cool storyline, a cool premise, and actually some pretty cool action. But then I'm afraid they're gonna revert to like too much kid stuff. Just too much comedy, which isn't a bad thing because it is a kids movie.
I mean, you can tell it's gonna be a God. I look really short. He's actually 6'6", and I'm like
5'7".
5'7".
So almost a foot above.
Yeah.
him.
So it'd be nice if we actually looked handsome. But anyways, I mean, I feel like you would. Or did you slouch?
I slouched.
Nice.
There you go.
But I feel like with that movie, it's we're not the target audience.
Obviously not.
So
but a good kids film should be able to entertain kids as well as
Toy Story.
Yeah, Tom Hanks. There you go.
Yeah, really. Yeah, Tom Hanks.
Honestly, I'll probably see it eventually. If not maybe not in theaters, but definitely when it comes out on DVD, just because it interests me. The next one, Fast and Furious 6, which I think is hilarious because that's the first one where they just had the name of the first movie with a number.
I mean, I've been a fan of the Fast and Furious movies.
Same.
I mean, like
the storylines aren't always that great, but
they're kind of corny.
Yeah, but they're fun to watch.
But it's like the only movie you really see where it's like super cool cars and they do cool stuff with cars.
Yeah, there's no other real film franchise that does that.
Yeah,
except maybe Drive. I haven't seen it, but now you have.
But Drive's more kind of like a transporter kind of thing.
Then the next one, which is a new trailer that probably not many people have seen, is Rush, which stars it was Chris Hemsworth was the main dude. I couldn't tell who the other main dude was.
Speaking of racing.
Yeah, there you go.
But that if you don't know anything about Rush, 1, right? It's Formula 1.
And another big true story movie.
Yeah, another true story about these two guys just kind of battling for numero uno, I guess.
But I feel like it gave away everything in the plot.
Yeah.
Like, it just, spelled out the entire movie up until, the climax for me.
Yeah, it was
Unless
kind of
all that
odd.
movie's in, the first 20 minutes, and then it goes on from there.
Yeah.
But I don't think it does.
I think it'll...
It looks like it's Oscar baiting.
Yeah. Oh
It's
yeah. Oh yeah.
Looking for that Oscar.
Oh yeah. That's Oscar baiting. If you don't know, it's basically just like long monologues, super drawn out scenes,
Lots of dramatic stuff.
Yeah, they're just trying to get an Oscar for something.
Yeah.
If you look at Lincoln, that's an Oscar baiter.
Yeah. That's not necessarily a bad movie though.
No.
But you can tell they're trying for an Oscar.
Yeah, especially with Oscar baiting movies, they try and have it be artsy, but still cater to a lot of people. But the thing is, artsy movies don't cater to a lot of people. Because I don't like artsy movies.
Yeah,
I don't like artsy movies. They just bother me. But that's just not who I am.
Yeah.
Anyways, what's the next one?
Gravity.
That looked pretty cool.
That looked like it was set the entire time just in orbit.
In space.
Earth. Oh, it looked... If you couldn't tell, it was Sandra Bullock and George Clooney.
It was Sandra Bullock?
It was Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. I could tell just by the voices.
You for sure?
I'm 100% sure. I IMDb'd it.
I do love George Clooney.
He's a good actor.
They do... They have worked together, so I do... That is good. No, I was thinking Julie Roberts.
Yeah.
Crap. Maybe. They might have. I don't know.
Some small thing. But
we'll Google it later.
The premise for this one is just... these two astronauts that are working on a space station or satellite. I couldn't really tell exactly what it was.
I think it was... It looks... I don't know. It's something was in space. A hunk of metal was in space. And it like...
They were working on it, repairing it,
just
whatever.
Something happened.
Something happens where they might get flung off into space and never be seen again.
It looked... They made that trailer look pretty... pretty heavy. Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of it's not going to be like that.
No, probably not.
I feel like a lot of it's going to... But I feel it's still going to work. I think if you could go into that movie with that mindset that not all of it's going to be them flying around in space and stuff, and that there's going to be a lot of quiet, slow moments, then you'll probably enjoy it. I'll probably go see it.
Also, both of us love astronomy.
Yeah.
And some of those shots they had in the trailer.
You know there's just going to be some amazing shots in them.
Unbelievable. I don't care if they were fake. They still looked amazing.
Yeah. And then the last trailer was Hangover 3. Which...
It's Hangover 3.
It's Hangover 3. It's probably going to be very similar to Hangover 1 and very similar to Hangover 2. But although it looks like it's a different plot. No one's getting married in this one.
It looks like it's actually kind of like a more
it's actually
stable plot.
Yeah, it's actually a sequel, not just a remake.
Like they actually kind of thought about it.
Yeah.
You know?
They took their time a little bit and try to hopefully recapture the first one, the extremity of the first one without just
completely overdoing it like they did in the second one.
The second one, they just redid it.
Yeah.
They just changed the names around on who's getting married and who gets kidnapped.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not going to be like a classic film or anything.
No,
but I still want to see it.
Yeah, I'm going to see it.
It'll be a good wrapping up to that.
Okay, well, now the main reason why we're here, The Great Gatsby.
Great Gatsby. Do you want to start, or do I want to start?
I'll start.
You can start.
I read the book in high school. I saw the 1974 movie in high school.
I have seen that, but he saw it today.
I watched that today because I
had work.
I didn't have work today, so I decided, well, might as well watch Great Gatsby twice. And I'll say this right off the bat: the 1974 version is much better. There are things that I like better about the newer, but overall, if you want to know the story without reading the book, even though the book's like 120 pages, it's nothing.
You can watch this.
Watch that movie. Yeah. It's so much better.
And also, if you don't know much about Baz Luhrmann, he also did the Romeo and Juliet rendition that was modern. The only thing I really remember about it was they called swords, and you'd see like on the gun the guy was holding, it was said sword.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because he used the exact dialogue that Shakespeare wrote in that, and then but made it all modern.
But the thing is, he did this with Great Gatsby, and it honestly just didn't work. And my reasons for why it didn't work is because if you're gonna try and do a word for word rendition of a book, then the audience is going to expect how the author wrote the book. Because F. Scott, like, what Baz Luhrmann highlighted in this movie and what F. Scott Fitzgerald highlighted in his book are two very completely different things, and I feel like it caused confusion.
Oh, I can see that. I could see you, if you never heard anything about The Great Gatsby before this, and you went into that movie, you would not get a sense for what the characters are like. The only character you would get that you would actually understand that's close to the book is Gatsby. And Tom.
Yeah.
Because, well, Tom, even in the book, he's a very kind of simple character. Mm-hmm. He's not that complex.
He didn't have... He really didn't have more dimensions, but with Gatsby, you could understand Gatsby between movie and the book because Leonardo DiCaprio nailed it.
He did.
Like, he completely understood how Gatsby worked, and I was just glad they got one character right.
Yeah. I like the girl who played Daisy.
Oh yeah, and the girls too. The girls did well.
I liked the Daisy in Baz Luhrmann's version better than the Daisy in the 1974. I don't know. She just seemed. I don't want to. It just seemed she didn't seem to be. I don't know. It was Mia Farrow, who's a great actress, but I don't know. It just something was off about her performance to me. And this Daisy's like a great example in the 1974 version when there's a scene in both movies where Gatsby takes all his clothes and starts throwing them to Daisy, and she's catching them and having a great time, and then Daisy starts crying because she realized like she can't be with Gatsby at the moment. And in the old version, the crying seems to come out of nowhere, and it's just she's not laughing at all. She's just cries after like the first two shirts, and it didn't seem like a nice moment at all. In the new version, there's like 30 seconds of these shirts flying, and she's just catching them, and Tobey Maguire's having a great time, and it's all nice, and then it does that laugh to cry transition, and the actress did it beautifully.
Yeah. Carey Mulligan did a very, very nice job with that role. But another role, or probably the one main role that I think both of us can agree on that was not up to par. We did not like Tobey Maguire as Nick Carraway.
And even
hold on,
okay.
My turn. But I'd probably say the thing with Tobey Maguire is, I mean, he's kind of like made himself to be like certain kind of roles.
Yeah.
But Nick Carraway's role, like if you read the book, if you watched the 1974 rendition, then that role is very hard to portray because Nick Carraway is not a common character you really think of. He's very obscure.
And he's very complex.
Yeah, and I feel like Tobey Maguire just did not do a good job with it.
Not saying Tobey Maguire is not a terrible actor, but he's not a phenomenal actor. But he's not a phenomenal actor either.
I just feel like he's set in specific... I feel like he's set in more like 1- and 2-dimensional roles. Mm-hmm. And with Nick Carraway, there's so many layers.
Yeah.
And I feel like any actor would have a challenge with it.
And I don't know, he didn't pull off because he is the lead in this movie, even though it's The Great Gatsby, he definitely is the lead, and he just doesn't, I don't know, something seems off. He always seems...
It feels like in every scene he's like lacking another aspect of Nick Carraway.
Yeah.
Because, well, I feel like, have we said any spoilers? Have we? I don't know.
No, I mean I described a scene, but nothing that.
Oh well, speaking of like individual scenes,
that's there are the dramatic scenes.
Yeah, they're very well done.
Rap music, no anything that move the plot are great. That they're phenomenal, and I mean honestly, those are the scenes. Most of those scenes are the ones where Tobey Maguire isn't such a big part.
No.
And it makes it somewhat better.
Yeah.
Like the one scene, not really spoilers, but when Gatsby takes Daisy back to his house for the first time. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of that montage of them kind of like exploring in. They go out to that dock and swim. That was a great scene. It showed the chemistry between Daisy and Gatsby.
Yeah. It showed how their relationship rekindles.
Yeah, and it's done...
Yeah.
Perfectly. And was there rap music playing then?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. And even if it was, I don't even think it would have messed it up.
No.
It's kind of appropriate. But, I don't know. It's just... This movie seemed to be a lot of different ideas that were just not fully developed. Like, he wanted it to be a modernized version, but not all the way, which doesn't make sense.
All the way was confusing because everyone's seen the trailers and everyone's like looked at some of the party scenes and that they portray in the trailers, and they look like they could be in the 20s. I mean, if you muted it, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, that could be in the 20s." But then when you hear Jay-Z in the background, you're like, "Wait a minute."
And
what?
when you see, there are some scenes when the people are dancing, and they're not dancing like they do in the 20s. And when you went to a party in the not that I but
they didn't grind like people do nowadays.
And they weren't just like
swing dance.
They swung. There was actual dancing going on. And there were moments in this movie where I'm just like, this isn't the 20s anymore. This is, I don't know what this is. No. This is people going to a 20s themed party. That's what it felt like. It felt like a 20s themed party.
Yeah, that's
a great description.
Yeah. But it was just like they were, like I felt like the rap music was more trying to cater to, I guess, our generation of viewers, but it's like when people would appreciate the book, though, I feel like that was, I mean, at least for me, that was my first real view of what the Roaring Twenties was by reading Great Gatsby. Because I didn't really talk about it in history much, because I feel like every history class they're like, oh, the 20s, but the Great Depression discussion would last like 3 weeks.
The Roaring 20s was like
I forgot about the Roaring 20s.
Days. Yeah. Oh, the 20s were great. Great Depression. Then that's what you learned about.
And I feel like Lerman highlighted the 20s visually. Like the Roaring 20s visually, because the visuals were spectacular. But there's, like, when you're watching a movie, you know, you see and then you hear. And the hearing
is what messed you up.
Yeah, it's what I feel like confused a lot of people that probably critiqued the movie, you know? Or that gave it harsh reviews, because they were like, "Oh, okay, the visuals looks great," and then you hear all this rap music, and you're like, "I kind of am taken out of the 20s."
Yeah, you get sucked in by these visuals, and even some of the dialogue doesn't feel like the 20s.
Yeah,
so some of the dialogue is like, "Wait, what? I don't."
It was like modern, and then it would just go back right, like word for word into the book. Yeah. So it was more jumping, and then another thing too that bothered me, and I know I talked about him with this in the car, is you would see scenes of bands playing, but like computer music in the background. Yeah. I'm like, why do you have the band?
There was this one scene
even for visuals, like there's no point. They're not making any music, you know?
There was one scene where there's just this dude playing a piano, and it was kind of when the party was dying down, and a woman singing. Just no microphone or nothing, just singing kind of haphazardly. Not really.
Just someone just
kind of singing drunkenly. But it sounded like they were in a studio with the microphone coming out of speakers.
That was kind of...
And that happened like 2 different times. And I'm like, what? No.
And it's like they were just trying to add so many elements.
And the words coming across the screen.
Yeah, there were words coming across the screen. That was kind of annoying.
Like, because throughout the movie, it's Tobey Maguire talking about Gatsby.
Because that's the book.
And it works, and you can have that in there, but there are times where he quotes the book and stuff, and it doesn't appear on the screen, and then there are times where it just randomly does, and it like fades over, and it just seems, and they're not like, it wasn't like super important parts. It wasn't like
it was kind of like a space filler.
Yeah,
like he was like crap. What do we need to do? Let's just put some words in the screen.
Yeah, they couldn't think of how to visually show this.
Yeah,
so they just showed the book.
And I just felt like you could take parts of that movie and look at them individually and be like, wow, they nailed those scenes. But then other stuff, like other aspects of it, you're like, It was just kind of confusing.
Another thing, if you know anything about The Great Gatsby, you know the biggest thing is the billboard, the doctor, what's his name?
I can't believe we're forgetting this.
Can't remember, but the eyes, which are supposed to symbolize God's eyes. They say that once in the book once in the movie to set it up. Like, I think Tobey Maguire says it at first,
Yeah, you just hear it said, but...
And then they just show it to you every, like...
Yeah, they keep trying
every
to...
20 minutes you'll see these eyes.
But just saying it... Well, this is probably the biggest problem I had with it. Coming back to, like, looking at whose interpretation it is. Mm-hmm. And when you have... Like, when you're introducing something like that, like F. Scott... If you've read the book, then you know F. Scott Fitzgerald beautifully described everything. What the eyes meant without actually saying it, because that's a good thing with symbolism.
Coming back.
Yeah, sorry about that. We had a little technical difficulties. But as I was saying, with the eyes and what... Like, F. Scott Fitzgerald basically set up the symbolism of the eyes. And Baz Luhrmann didn't do that. So since like you really didn't feel that the eyes were important in the movie, instead of just two eyes like kind of staring at you in your seat, they were just out of place the whole time. And that was something that really bothered me, because my sophomore year of high school English teacher like beat that into our skulls that was super important. Yeah. And I feel like he just left out a huge part of the movie because those eyes were...
He left out was the distinction between West Egg and East Egg.
Yeah. He just had them as two different islands.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, West Egg was new money, or was West Egg old money? Well...
I think West Egg was new money and East Egg was old money. Because
that was a huge thing. Like, new money is people who inherited it, and they were much more flashy, and they were much more bright, and, like, just wearing tacky stuff that was expensive.
Well, new money's not more than what inherited. It's just more like they're just new wealth. Because old wealth, just with East Egg, was represented with, like, Tom. Yeah. And then West Egg with the new money and Gatsby. But you didn't get that.
You didn't, because they both seem very similar.
Yeah, they're both like, it's two groups of really rich people.
They even said at one point that they were very similar.
Yeah.
At one, they're supposed to be, like, completely opposite.
But I feel like if Baz Luhrmann did his own interpretation and he had that, then it would have been fine. But since he was going like verbatim F. Scott Fitzgerald, people were expecting it to be like he should have made this distinction.
And that was just like the biggest. That was the thing that I got like punched into our head. West Egg, East Egg. Look at the differences. What are the like? We actually had a party where half the class had to decorate a table like East Egg, So new money on this side, you had to make it all look flashy, tacky, and everything. This side had to be more conservative, more like
old money.
Yeah, exactly.
And that took it away also. But another thing too that I was beat over the head with in sophomore English class was colors and and what they meant. And the only time Baz Luhrmann did a good job with it once. I don't want to spoil it because it was a well done scene. I do enjoy that scene, and he did a very good job with like where you notice like colors. But other than that, it was just more like everything was like flamboyant and everything, but you didn't really realize because like he didn't show you what each color really meant, and I feel like that was something that bothered me.
Mm-hmm. Like there's certain places where they go to in the book that are supposed to be certain big, bright colors.
Yeah, because they were literally written in the book of Caraway being like, color.
Yeah.
You know?
But in this, everything was big, bright colors.
So there is so you just kind of got used to your eyes seeing like
all these,
ginormous
and so when anything came out like big, bright colors, it was like, okay, that's normal. That's why I think the 1970 version is so much better, because when you're with the old money, all the colors seem just a lot, not necessarily muted, but just a lot duller. And when you're at Gatsby's house, it's a lot brighter. You have bright blues and bright reds and bright yellows. And then other ones you kind of have lighter whites, maybe lighter, like the light yellows, light pinks, and stuff like that.
Wow. But, I mean, it's kind of weird how you can take away the positives of this movie. I mean, it sounds like we're ripping it apart.
It does. But it's not a terrible movie, and I can see who can enjoy it.
It's just the problem with this movie is, together, all of it doesn't work, but if you take bits and pieces of it and just went with those, then like, Baz Luhrmann could have made
honestly, I think you could have went you could have went with a modern movie of this. Not like you could have went with a modern movie. There's still old money and new money out there.
Yeah.
It's still around. You could have still done the same thing. You could have had it set in 2012. You might anger some people, but you might reach that. Just throwing in rap songs is not going to reach a younger crowd.
Yeah, the audience, I feel like the audience he was catering to was younger people. I feel like it was more catering towards younger people.
Yeah.
But
he tried to throw in the stuff for the older people.
And the two...
And they clash.
They clash. Because they're two big ideals, you know?
Mm-hmm. You can't have two giant different ideals in movies. Like, there is good juxtaposition. Like, when two opposites come together and it creates that... I'm not really sure how to describe
that ball what you're making?
Yeah.
Like Goku's little...
They just create, like, the perfect... Like, the two opposites, and they can't come together and they create something perfect.
A ball of perfection.
A ball of perfection.
But yeah,
but this one's like
possible.
It's like the two biggest ideals in the movie. New money. Well, I get.
It's like
actually now more that I think about it.
Well, it's more the biggest. I feel like what he was trying to do is he was toiling with. All right, should I make this rendition be modernized or should I have it more like the book? And I feel like it was way more like the book simply because of what they were talking about. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the visuals and whatnot, even though it's set in the 20s, it still looked like real. It looked way modern.
Mm-hmm. Even New York to me seemed to be way.
It looked like Chicago.
It didn't look like Chicago to me. It looked like New York.
It just reminded me, like the scenes of them in New York. It looked like Chicago.
To me, it looked like they were. It looked like New York was lit like it is today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, New York was not lit like that in the 20s. I know it was brightly lit, and it did have lights everywhere, but it was not brightly lit as it is today. And it looked as brightly lit, if not brighter, than today.
Yeah, it's just subtle differences of him, like, deciding if he should make it modern
and I can see,
or, like, traditional of the book. And I feel like that was the main problem with it. Everything else, I feel like, is
secondary. He did,
secondary.
though, was, if you think about it, every time you were with Gatsby, I just thought of this. That was when the rap music was going. That's when the new stuff was coming out.
Because it was new.
Because that's the new money.
Yeah.
And then you got the old money, which is then that's when you usually see the
with Tom,
and then they won't have the rap music there. But those are the parts that I liked. Was the older
the thing is, even when
you can see
even
kind
when
of
you were still with Tom, there were still overzealous colors.
Yeah.
Everything still looked like it looked like everyone was still like dressing up in 20s stuff because everything else looked really modern.
Yeah.
Just how everything like scenery, like even though it looked like more like roaring 20s, just how it was done still looked super modern.
Everything can't be that bright when you're trying to make a movie that's set a long time ago. It can't. Look at like a lot movies that are like Public Enemies. The colors aren't bright. Nothing is bright in that movie. Even when it's bright out, the colors are muted. And that sets the tone. That creates it that this was a while ago. This is not happening now. This happened in the past.
Yeah. And
which you can never repeat the past.
Ever. No, you can never repeat the past.
Of course you can. Of course.
But overall, I feel like
I'll give it a 5.
I was thinking of like a 5 as well. But
if you really like rap music, then
I know plenty of people that said they liked the movie, and I understand reasons why they like the movie. You know, you can get that away from it, but I feel like overall with this movie, it was more Baz Luhrmann struggling to figure out what he wanted to do, and then at the end he was kind of like movie.
Yeah. I can see him like that, or it seemed like, okay, here's what I'll do. And I'll represent the new money with rap music.
Yeah.
And represent the old money with no rap music.
Yeah.
Then it just looks like you threw rap music into a movie. It doesn't, you have to put something else there. But you can't, because you can't put different modern music, because that's still modern. You can't put really old music into it, because then that just seems really off.
Yep. And it was just the whole movie was just a struggle between just a ton of different aspects.
Just Tobey Maguire's acting just seemed there were not saying there were like every scene you saw him you're like, oh, this guy, but there were scenes where it was off, where his delivery was just a little bit off. There were scenes where it was right and you could understand that, but then when it went deeper into Nick Carraway, it was like
he couldn't get to that level.
He couldn't get to that level. He couldn't portray that aspect of him, which really just threw you out of the movie. That was the problem. That you got thrown out of the movie so much. You got pulled in. There were times where you kept getting pulled back in, but then the next scene you get thrown out.
Yeah. That made it very confusing.
And it made it very not irritating. It was just, oh, this movie's great. Wait, why did they do that? Oh, look at that. Well, that's stupid too.
Yeah. But yeah, we both give it 5s.
5s. What if you're a fan of Baz Luhrmann, if you liked Romeo and Juliet, you'll probably like this movie. Then I'd say
I didn't mind I kind of didn't really mind the Romeo and Juliet.
I hated that. I hated that movie, and I will.
Because, I mean, I'm not a big Shakespeare person, so it helped me relate to Shakespeare a little more.
Mm-hmm. If you want to see... Othello was Shakespeare, right?
Othello, yes.
Yeah. If you want to see a really good modernized version of a classic story, go watch... I don't remember what it's called. It's based on the Shakespearean play Othello, but it's completely modernized. And they do
like set in a high school kids, and it's really good.
And they do it perfectly.
Yeah. And there's also a good like actual rendition of it with Morpheus.
Yeah.
From The Matrix.
Lawrence Fishburne.
He was Othello. But anyways.
That should have been Great Gatsby. That'd have been cool.
I feel
the scene that I liked, the reveal of Gatsby
was awesome.
You just see Leonardo turn and then fireworks behind him.
It was pretty cool.
Like, honestly, that's how, if I meet someone new, that's how I want to meet them. I want to be looking the other way, and when they say my name, someone to shoot off fireworks and then turn around and smile.
All right. I think we've basically hit everything with this movie. Yeah, we're just gonna start doing videos. Plain and simple.
And if you have a movie that you want us to review, put it in the comments.
Yeah. Tell us what you think.
Let your friends know.
Harsh criticism, I don't really care.
Let us know what we're doing wrong.
Whatever. That would also help too. Yeah, if we're like really choppy with what we're talking about, if you want it like more organized, and we can easily do that. This is numero uno, first time doing it. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I guess we're gonna be signing off.
That's Adam.
And that's Derek.
See ya.
Bye.